Hello and welcome to today's session. We're on to our last 3 sessions of the programme now, including this one, and they are all going to concentrate on other ways of dealing with anxiety and various coping mechanisms. This session is going to cover positive psychology and mindfulness, both of which we've touched on a little bit before, but we want to look at them in a bit more detail. So, positive psychology, what is it? Instead of concentrating on the negatives that are going on in life and resolving them or dealing with them, we want to use positive psychology, bring positives into our lives and our minds in order to combat some of the negativity that goes on. So we're coming from a different direction with positive psychology. This exercise I'm going to say is better if it's written down. Just to give you a couple of examples, let's have a look at what we mean when we're looking at just simply changing a statement from a negative one to a positive one. So, I can't do it would equal I can do it. I'm a failure would equal I'm a success. So we're literally turning it on its head. And we can't be all a failure anyway. We'd be a success at many other things. So not only is it true, but it will help us to build our self-esteem and be more realistic about ourselves. So that's the first one. So let's take that exercise a little bit further and think about what we can actually do about the thing itself. I can't get that job. So what about applying and seeing what happens? I don't have that skill. Maybe sign up for a course or learn a new skill if that's what you want to do. So we're actually talking about doing something, not just saying it, but doing something towards the thing that we want. Next, I'd like you to look at writing a list of all the things you like about you, all the things that you're good at, and that are your key personality, all the good stuff. And also all the positive things that you have in life right now. Could be friends, family, various things. But if you write them all down and think outside the box, think about really everything, then you'll begin to build a picture of positivity. And that's a really good thing to have written down. Because when you're not feeling as great, you can look at it and it will remind you that all this good stuff is actually there. So next we go on to mindfulness, which we have spoken about before. And mindfulness being about being at peace and living in the moment. And just being. Living. Not just existing. So we've looked at the mindful use of senses before. The 5 senses that we have, if we're lucky enough to have all 5. Sight, sound, taste, smell and touch. So think about all the things that you can do with those senses. We can uplift ourselves with hearing certain music, or certain bird song, or someone's laugh. We can see a beautiful scenery, a beautiful view. We can look at photographs. We can look at someone's face and it brightens our day. We can walk along the road, looking at the floor, looking at our phone. Or we can be aware of our environment. We can be looking, hearing, It's much more pleasurable to be in the moment and using your senses wherever you can. Have you ever been, if you drive, have you ever been in the car and you've been late? Or whether you get public transport, you've been late, for example, maybe for work or a meeting or something. And that whole journey is horrible because you're stressed, anxious, blaming yourself, blah, blah, blah. I should have got up earlier. Oh, it's the bus fault, the bus driver's fault. We can blame. We can be sitting there getting really annoyed or upset or uptight. But if the inevitable is going to happen and we are going to be late, then once we've concentrated on what we're going to do when we get to the place late and deal with whoever it is on the other end or whatever it is on the other end, then we're better off trying to relax during that journey. If there's nothing we can do, it's that acceptance again. Okay, so maybe if you're on the bus or train, you look out the window, you watch the scenery go by, you look at the other passengers, you decide to do something else, you read your book, you listen to some music. If you're driving, wind the window down, if possible. And, if you're sitting there in a traffic jam, okay, it's not so great to have the window down, but there are other things you can concentrate on if you're sat there. And I'm not talking about phones. We don't want to start using phones while we're driving, obviously, but there's usually something around that you can look at. And even just thinking about something more pleasant, it really does work. So being aware of your environment and not going down that route of catastrophizing or blaming or getting stressed over things that really won't matter tomorrow. And next time you're eating, concentrate on it. Really see your food, taste your food, smell your food, and feel all the textures. That's 4 out of 5 senses in use right there in eating. One other thing we can do is a little test, if you'd like to do it at some point, and that's to think about, what do I remember over the last week? Now, we've looked at memories before, but that was picking a memory out of the past from wherever. But think about the last week. What do you remember of the last week? And what do you remember of using your senses when those memories come up? What were you smelling? What were you seeing? What were you hearing? So next, let's just have a look at another positive psychology exercise. Being grateful. This being grateful exercise is a funny one in a way, because I would say probably half of my clients that I've utilised it with will kind of say, well, does this work? And it does sound a little bit twee, but it works and it's powerful. And I've never had someone doing it properly who hasn't benefited. So what is it about? You may have heard about it before, and if you have, then it'll be just a recap for you. So at the end of each day, write down all the things that you're grateful for that day. You could do it right now if you like, but the evening is the best time because it sets you up with positive things that you've been grateful for. So it sets you up for a good night's sleep to think about positive things, but also it helps to for you to think about the day that you've had and everything that's been good in it. But there's another thing, and I'll talk about that after. So, 5 things that you're grateful for each day. You can start off, if you want to, with all the big stuff, a shelter, warmth, food, what have you. That's fine, but you cannot repeat yourself. So you have to go smaller and smaller and smaller and find the little nuances in life that you're grateful for. I went on a picnic and the sun was shining. It didn't rain. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that someone held the door open for me today. When I had shopping in my hands, it was a bit tricky. I'm grateful that someone let me out of my driveway on a busy road. And I'm grateful for a phone call I received from a friend today. All the little things. I'm grateful something went well at work or with family, what have you. So those are the outside things that we can be grateful for that involve other people. However, within those 5 things each day, I'd like you to look at or find at least 1 or 2 that are about you. So, I'm grateful I pushed myself and got my work done. I'm grateful that I booked that holiday because I now have something to look forward to. I'm grateful I helped someone today because I have a good feeling and I feel like I have purpose. Hello, Millie. So these things are about the small things, but the last thing I was going to say was what happens when you do it regularly is that you will find you will look for those things during the day. You'll look for them and you will find them and you will make them happen. And that's the real beauty of it. Now, I know I do encourage you to write a lot of things down. However, the next exercise is really, really worth writing down because you can use it as your own coping mechanism if you get low or anxious or in a certain negative mood. All I'd like you to write down is all the things that make you smile. Actually make you smile. Break into a smile. Those things have a good feeling to them. And when you write them down, it might be worth writing how long they take, for example. So maybe if you like art, you do a painting. So that takes time, but the payoff is great and you're like, yeah, I did that. Could be sport, could be seeing people, all sorts of things. And what will happen is, what we'll do with that list, what you'll do with that list is keep it, and whenever you're feeling like you don't know what to do or that you need a pick-me-up, you can go to that list of the things that you wrote down that make you smile and you can go to it. It's particularly helpful if you're feeling low or anxious because when we're in that frame of mind, we can't always think about how am I going to get out of it? What's going to cheer me up? What's going to make me feel better? But if you've got it written down, it's your go-to and it's written by you. So you'll be able to go there and say, right, okay, I've got a spare half an hour. Let's do something that's good for me. It does help self-care, which we will talk more about in another session. But you can see how it would work. It's just a good thing to know. And if someone makes you smile, maybe to make a phone call is going to be the best thing you can do. And talking of phone calls, it is good to talk. Very often we isolate ourselves with our problems or issues, whatever we want to call them. But if we know someone well enough, we get to know theirs. And as long as you trust the people that you speak to, you get to learn that you're not alone. You get to hear what other people do. So it can be really useful if you have people around you, to talk to them, get to really know them. There's no shame in being lonely, isolated, anxious, in a low mood, mental health issues. There is no shame in it. And to share can be a really, really freeing exercise. And lastly in this session, I just want to say, relax. Try to relax. It can be a coping mechanism to keep busy, to be in denial, or to avoid feeling anxious, because it's easier to be busy, do things for other people, and that makes us feel good. And that's great, as long as we're not avoiding. So if you could sit just for 10 minutes or even 5 minutes a day, just sit down, clear your mind. You're not trying to think of anything. You're going to let your subconscious bring things up for you. If nothing comes, great. You've got a clear mind. All the important stuff comes up when we allow our subconscious to allow thoughts to come through. And if we're too busy, all that processing and all that important stuff doesn't happen, because we're masking it. And if you can sort of tense your muscles while you sit there, if you could do another 5 minutes of this, separate to that exercise, tensing your muscles each one at a time and letting them go, letting them relax. It's easy, it doesn't take a lot of time, and although we say, I haven't got time, we have got 5 minutes. We can always find 5 or 10 minutes. And if you can't, then you really, really need to look at your schedule, because that is not good self-care if you cannot find 10 minutes for yourself. If you really have to, put it in the diary. So that's all for today's session. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and bye for now.